Welcome everyone, this is the Schleg Daddy from the Wedge Busters! And it's time for my Week 2 2011 NFL season picks. Before I go into those, let me recap how I did in Week 1. If you include the Thursday night Packers-Saints game where I picked the Packers to cover the spread, I ended up going 10-6 versus the spread last week, but a rather putrid 6-9-1 against the over-under. So let's see if I can do a little bit better against the over-under number and maybe go something like 12-4 against the spread this week. A quick note, Tasteless Tony T isn't with me tonight to record this, but he did send me his picks, so that way I can give them to you as well. And it's time to start finding out for the Wedge Busters who the real Swami of the spread is. We'll kick off the picking action this week with the Oakland Raiders at 1-0, traveling as 3.5-point underdogs on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills. Now, based off of the strength of each team's victory last week, you would probably go into this game saying the Bills should be favored by at least a field goal, and that's what they are by 3.5. Me personally, 1 week does not a season make, and I guess you could say that for just about any team in the NFL right now. But I think the Raiders are a better football team than the Buffalo Bills, and they'll prove it this week. So give me the Oakland Raiders on the road plus the 3.5, and the Tasteless one also agrees, Oakland plus the 3.5. And as far as the over-under on this game, it's 42. I will take the under. Next up, a game close to the Tasteless one's heart. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers travel into Carolina to take on Cam Newton and the Panthers. The Packers are favored in this game by 10.5 points. Personally, I think this will be at least a 2-touchdown victory for the Green Bay Packers this week, and the Tasteless Ones agrees. And the over-under is 45.5. In this game, I will take the under. The Kansas City Chiefs look to rebound from last week's embarrassing home opening loss to the Buffalo Bills, this time going on the road to Ford Field to take on Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. Detroit enters the game as an 8.5-point favorite according to Bodog.net. Both Tasteless Tony T and myself agree that Detroit just has too much on offense for the Chiefs to contend with and did not like what we saw last week out of Kansas City. So give both Tony and myself Detroit minus the 8.5 points. The over-under on this game is 46. I will take the under. Our next matchup features two teams that lost pretty bad in Week 1. The Cleveland Browns travel to Indianapolis to take on the Peyton Manning-less Indianapolis Colts. Anybody that watched action from either one of these games know the Browns were doing well against the Bengals in the first half, and then Bruce Gradkowski beat them in the second half. And Kerry Collins never had a chance against that Houston Texans' new revamped 3-4 defense. Looking at this matchup, the Browns are favored by 3, and the over-under is 40. Tasteless Tony T has picked the Browns minus the 3, and I am going to agree. Peyton Hillis will be too much power on the ground. I'll take the Browns minus the 3 on the road and give me the over. Next up, a matchup of old NFC Central rivals as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Minnesota and that stupid Roller Dome to take on the Vikings. The Buccaneers are 3-point underdogs, and the over-under is 42. Me personally, I didn't like what I saw out of Minnesota, especially in the second half against the Chargers. They have Adrian Peterson, yet they decided to put the game in Donovan McNabb's hands too much. And as bad as Donovan McNabb was, you have to ask yourself, couldn't Christian Ponder do the same thing? At least he'd be a rookie quarterback learning. So I think Tampa Bay rebounds from the tough loss to the Lions last week. So give me Tampa Bay plus the 3, and I'll take the over. Tony will take Tampa plus the 3. So, based off of Bodog.net's odds, for whatever reason that baffles me, the New Orleans Saints, who lost to Green Bay last week, are 7-point favorites against the Chicago Bears, who dominated Atlanta. I see a 3 or 4-point spread, but 7? Ooh, that's too much room for me. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears plus the 7 points. Tony's taking the Bears plus the 7. The over-under on this game is 48. I'll take the under. The Jaguars travel to the new Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets. The Jets are favored by 9 in this matchup, and the over-under is 39.5. Me personally, I would expect a lot of ground and pound action out of both teams with Maurice Jones-Drew and Deji Kareem on the one side and Sean Green and LT on the other. Ultimately, I just think the Jets are far better than the Jaguars. So give me the Jets minus the 9, and I'll take the over. And Tasteless Tony T also took the New York Jets minus the 9. Next up, another matchup of winless teams in Week 1. The Seattle Seahawks travel to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are favored big in this matchup, 14.5 points. And while I don't necessarily think the Seahawks have any real chance of winning, 14.5 points, that's a lot, especially after 1 week in the season. So unless the odds makers really know something that Tasteless Tony T and myself don't, we're both taking the Seahawks plus the 14.5, and the over-under on this game is 40. I will take the over. We get the Baltimore Ravens traveling as 6.5-point favorites to Tennessee to take on Chris Johnson and the Titans. The Ravens were really damn impressive last week. And if anybody should probably be favored by double digits this week, it shouldn't be the damn Steelers. It should be the Baltimore Ravens. Tennessee played okay against Jacksonville, but Hasselbeck sucks, and he doesn't have it anymore. They might as well just put Jake Locker in. Give Tony and myself both the Ravens minus the 6.5, and the over-under on this game is 38. I will take the over. Arizona Cardinals, fresh off of a Week 1 victory where they saw Cam Newton throw for 422 yards on their defense, travels to Washington, D.C. to take on Rex Grossman and the Redskins. The Redskins go into this game favored by 4, and the over-under is 44. Tasteless Tony T has decided to take the Cardinals plus the 4, so I'm going to take the Redskins minus the 4, and the over-under on this game being 44, I will take the over. Well, this next matchup would be great if it was 1994 or 95, but sadly it's not. It's 2011. We get the Dallas Cowboys traveling to San Francisco to take on Jim Harbaugh and his 49ers. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-point favorites on the road in spite of the fact that they did basically choke away last week's game against the New York Jets. Tasteless Tony T has decided to take those Cowboys minus the 3, and I won't bury the Cowboys this week. I do think that they'll end up winning and covering the spread. So give me the Cowboys minus the 3. The over-under is 42.5, of which I will take the over. We get to my upset pick of the week, the Cincinnati Bengals, who won last week behind the heroics of Bruce Gradkowski, go to the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, even though they lost to the Raiders in Week 1, are still 3.5-point favorites at home. Me personally, I just think the Broncos are not that good this year, so it may be a few weeks, I think, before we see them win a game. As a result, I am going to take the Cincinnati Bengals plus the 3.5, and I'm going to take them to win the game outright. And Tasteless Tony T at least has picked the Bengals to cover the 3.5-point spread. The over-under on this game is 40. I will take the under. After steamrolling the Colts 34-7, the Houston Texans are flying very high and travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins, who were shredded by Tom Brady for 517 yards in the air on Monday night. Me personally, now that Peyton Manning is out of the equation for the Colts for at least a half or 2/3 of the season, I expect the Texans to dominate the AFC South, and they sure did a good job of showing that in Week 1. Being only favored by 3 is a bit surprising to me, so I will take the Houston Texans minus the 3. Tasteless Tony T took the Texans minus the 3. The over-under on this game is 48. I will take the under. The San Diego Chargers, after needing some second-half magic to come back and beat the Minnesota Vikings last week, go on the road to Foxborough to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 7 in this matchup. I just don't like the Chargers normally early on in the year. They tend to be a slow-starting team. The 7-point spread might be a bit much just because both teams have the potential to score a lot of points. Tony took the Chargers plus the 7, so just to be a little different, because I'm on the fence, I will take the New England Patriots minus the 7, and the over-under on this game is 54. I will take the over. The Wedge Busters game of the week is a Sunday night matchup, which sees Michael Vick go back to his old stomping grounds for the second time, but this time as a starter, as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 3-point underdogs at home, which isn't really surprising considering the Eagles were relatively impressive against St. Louis in Week 1. The over-under on this game is 50. I do expect Atlanta to play much better than they did in Week 1. Matt Ryan is a much better quarterback indoors and on turf than he is on grass or on the road. Michael Vick could have a lot of pressure returning to his old stomping grounds as a starting quarterback. There could be a lot of heat on him to perform, and he could either be underwhelmed by it and have a phenomenal Monday night or Sunday night game, or he could be overwhelmed by it and it could affect his play. Therefore, I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons plus the 3, and Tasteless Tony T is also going to take the Falcons plus the 3, and I will take the under. The Monday night game sees two teams who had disappointing Week 1 performances. The St. Louis Rams, behind head coach Steve Spagnuolo, travel to his old stomping grounds, the Meadowlands, to take on the New York Giants. The Giants are favored by 6 in this matchup. There are questions with the Rams about whether or not Bradford is going to play, even though I expect him to. Steven Jackson, however, may not, which is a huge blow to that Rams offense. The Giants did not look very good against the Redskins in Week 1, but 1 week does not a season make. I will take the New York Giants minus the 6. Tony has taken the Rams plus the 6. The over-under on this matchup is 44. I will take the over. Let us know down below what game you're looking forward to the most this week, what you think might be the big upset of the week. And also, if you want to take us on, see how you do against the spread, we use Bodog.net's odds. So if you want to pick against the spread, go there, and they have the odds there, and put those down below in the comments section. For the Wedge Busters, I'm the Schleg Daddy, and we'll see you later.